Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm from Pionix, and we're creating the EV charging operating system, the backbone for EV charging. Why is that relevant? Just the quick numbers in a nutshell. We think there will be billions of devices out there which have to fuel the mobility of the future. We think open source is the only solution of fundamentally fixing this ecosystem. And as we've seen before from Jörg, this is easily a $10 billion plus opportunity to go after that industry. We already raised 9 million since our founding in 2021, and we're now going after 5 to 7 million late seed round. Why is that relevant? Why are we here? What is our mission? If you look at nowadays charging infrastructure, 10 to 25% of charging sessions failing. And this is not just the bad ones. Even the best performers in the market have sometimes something like 10% plus error rate. And if you think about this market has to scale up. There's 2.5 billion vehicles out there. We have to electrify all of them. We will probably need roughly 1 billion charging stations. This is just a complexity mess of thousands of car types, of thousands of EV charging station types, of thousands of types of backend system, of apps, and every combination has to work. And this is just an intercompatibility nightmare, and that's what we're seeing here. It's a nightmare in maintenance, getting the right spare part at the right moment in time to the right location, and not sending a technician there, try to find out what's wrong, ordering a part, and then 4 weeks later coming back and maybe fixing it. You see a lot of stranded assets out there. Even though the industry is young, it has so fast evolution. Sometimes companies abandoning those chargers in order to going after the latest and greatest, and then the charge point operators, the utilities, sitting on non-functional assets. Yeah, and last but not least, software quality is often not where it should be. We heard a lot about cybersecurity in the IoT space. Many of the charging companies are really electrical engineering companies, but not focused on good software from the DNA. How the industry tries to solve it? They try to go after standardization. They think everything can be solved by standard. And we have so many standards out there. I skipped that slide. And it's a lot what the industry tries to do, adding more to the equation. The problem is that's not solving it, it's just making it worse. If you look on other industries, how have they fixed it? They said like, okay, maybe we should have a common operating system scaling over entire industry. And we saw that on operating systems for Linux servers, for smartphones, for databases, for drones. That's the industry I was before in. All over the place, open source was winning after an initial time. It's not the first thing in the market, but it's this thing that's winning long term. And we think if you open sourceify and creating a unified solution for all chargers, you can break down complexity of this industry and you can heal the market. We did that quite successful. We are now the by far biggest open source operating system, as far as we know, even in the entire clean tech space worldwide. A number of engineers driving it. We have more than 30 organizations, I think almost 40 and 400 professionals contributing to that code base. You see here some of the prominent logos. So the software runs from Tesla superchargers to anywhere else. Just this year alone, the deployed chargers in the field will grow from 15,000 to about 400,000 to 500,000 chargers. And this industry and this ecosystem is way bigger, what I just showed you here. There's a lot of behind-the-scene activity with all the big OEMs. Intercompatibility is key. We have to get that fixed by working together. And that's the core DNA of what we're doing. But we're also a venture case. We're not only a non-profit. We drive on top of that commercial products. If you're winning such an open source ecosystem, creating it, you have the perfect upselling opportunity. Number one for us is an enterprise edition of that open source software, which will be deploying by already signed contracts, 250,000 chargers in the next 2.5 years. We have long-term stable edition. We have engineering, tooling. We have certified hardware modules. That's an entire ecosystem. But I think even more importantly, long-term is we can aggregate data out of all of those chargers. Our secret sauce in being as close as possible where the issues originate, where the hardware failures originate. So we can use this firmware within the charger as the perfect sensor to pull out information and to create operational excellence. And that's what we're currently launching. Our revenue, we did $1 million last year. We are now scaling that in the next 2.5 years to $3 million recurring. Sales cycle in this industry is a bit longer, as you probably know from utility space. You have to integrate with customers, but the good thing is they stay with you for years. It's a super sticky industry. Quickly about the team. Me and my co-founders have been working in the drone space before. We sold the startup to Intel 2016. Also, quickly after we sold it, the entire drone industry was flipped from a closed source, fragmented ecosystem to a consolidated open source one. So we have been part of such a transition before. And last year we had our chief revenue officer joined, also with quite some industry experience on scaling SaaS companies. And the good thing is not only the numbers of chargers prove us right, but also the big players who are working with our open source. That's from the Open Charge Alliance, where we got elected onto the board. It's one of the biggest organizations around EV charging. The US government works with us. The Chinese government is knocking our door if they can play a minor role somewhere. Trusted Computing Group. So this is a huge ecosystem, and we're the place where everything consolidates. Yeah, thank you for your attention, and I will be here around next days.